All right, so welcome into my next set of college football bowl predictions. This is going to be about 12 games. We're getting into some better bowls, although there is a lot of 6-6 teams involved in these predictions as well. And we're going to begin on the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. It's a noon game, and it is Arkansas State taking on Northern Illinois. Now, I do like Northern Illinois in this matchup. They've got a veteran QB. It's basically a pick'em game. Arkansas State, not a great defense, good offense. Actually scored 77 points in a game about a month ago. But Northern Illinois, I think they've got Rocky Lombardi, the 7-year QB from Michigan State. That's where he originally was. And I will take them to win this game. They're a veteran team. Northern Illinois, they used to always be a solid team. They've really fallen off. But I will take them to win a close matchup 24-21. Next, we do have the Armed Forces Bowl, and it is Air Force. Boy, what a polarizing season from Air Force, starting 8-0, getting significant hype, losing 4 straight games. They're sitting 8-4 right now. They're taking on James Madison, 11-1. James Madison getting the invite to the bowl because there weren't enough 6-win teams. They did lose their head coach. They're still favorites here by 3. Again, Air Force loses a 4 straight, but we've seen this time and time again. When you've got a triple option team, they tend to really frustrate other teams during bowl games. I think Air Force comes back. They're due for a victory. They win this game, lower scoring, close. They're going to run the ball a ton, obviously, 24-17 over a James Madison team that had a very good year at 11-1. But I do like Air Force, obviously. James Madison, they hosted game day, then they lost, and that kind of took the wind out of their sails. Also, again, losing their head coach. Air Force wins this. They cover the 3-point spread. Next, we've got another game on the 23rd. This is an afternoon game. The Idaho Potato Bowl. Yes, and it is Georgia State taking on Utah State. Georgia State sitting -2.5. Battle of 6-6 teams here. Battle of 6-6 teams. Georgia State, though, they've lost 5 straight games. They gave up over 40 points in 4 of those games. Although, to be fair, one of them was against LSU. Utah State coming off a double overtime thrilling win against New Mexico. Again, both of these teams sitting at 6-6. I actually forgot, honestly, who I predicted in this game. It's just kind of a weird... Listen, these games are coin flips. When you've got 2 6-6 teams like this, you can see Utah State 58% chance to win. Georgia State sitting -2.5. They've got a bad defense. They're on a losing streak. Give me Utah State. Maybe they hit like a 95-yard field goal to win it there. Next, we do have this bowl taking place in, I think this is a new sponsor. That's a decent logo. Mobile, Alabama. 7 o'clock on December 23rd. Probably the worst bowl of the year. South Alabama and Eastern Michigan. So this is a MAC team has to go to this bowl, and you can see just the weakness of the MAC conference, unfortunately, with South Alabama sitting 16-point favorites. Significantly better, even though both of these teams are technically 6-6. South Alabama does have a really impressive receiver who's got over 1,300 receiving yards. I like South Alabama to cover that 16-point spread. It's a little bit big, but Eastern Michigan, really bad. Their starting quarterback, just 9 touchdown passes on the year. Give me South Alabama big. They always seem to have a good defense as well. 33-10 they cover that 16-point spread. Next, we've got, here's a mainstream bowl, the Las Vegas Bowl, and it's 2 defensive-minded teams. It's Utah and it's Northwestern matching up on Saturday night, 2 days before Christmas, 1 day before Christmas Eve. I will say, Utah's quarterback, Bryson Barnes, is in the transfer portal. Now, they also have another quarterback they've been using. We know Cam Rising is coming back next year for Utah. But right now, the over-under in this game sitting at 42.5. I like the under. Taking a look at this Northwestern team, a lot of people surprised. They're sitting 7-5. Part of that is due to a really bad division. But also, it seems like Northwestern matches up really well with a team like Utah. Like, Utah and Northwestern like to play similar styles, so I'm guessing this is going to be a very close game. I do have Utah winning 20-17, but with the quarterback in the transfer portal, Northwestern, kind of a streaky team, but they're a team that can hang in, especially, it's not like Utah's going to out-talent them to death, although Utah does have more talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Northwestern can keep this game close. Going to be a run-heavy game, low-scoring game. I will take Utah to win it, but I will take Northwestern to cover the 7-point spread. And then the 10:30 game, so this is the final game before Christmas, it is San Jose State hosting Coastal Carolina, and this game a little bit tough, with Grayson McCall in the transfer portal, not playing. You do have San Jose State sitting -8. 57% chance to win. Obviously, the line has been affected by Grayson McCall hitting the portal. San Jose State, though, very good for being, a 7-5 football team. They're winners of 5 in a row. They beat UNLV. They beat San Diego State. They beat Fresno State. They've been playing better. I do think they win this game relatively easily, and I think them covering an 8-point spread, not that it's a lock. I mean, you take a look at the FPI at 57% chance, but Coastal Carolina this year has been down. The past 2 years, they've kind of been down, even with Grayson McCall, and now without him. I like San Jose State pretty easily in that one to cover the 8. Next, we do have December 26th, the day after Christmas. Oh man, here's a hangover game. It is the Quick Lane Bowl. Bowling Green taking on Minnesota. What a bad year for Minnesota. I didn't realize how much Minnesota underperformed until I saw a metric on teams, and apparently they were one of the worst teams relative to their preseason ranking. They're sitting -4 in this game, but just a 60% chance to win. And when you talk about motivation factor, I understand Minnesota with PJ Fleck. He's animated. He's going to have them ready for this game, but it just seems like Bowling Green, their situation, they're coming into this game facing a Big Ten team. We know Bowling Green has not been good recently. They're 7-5. Minnesota actually is 5-7, but they were able to make it based off of, I don't know if they still do team GPA on who makes it. So they used to do that. I don't know how they base it off now, but they're 5-7 and they made a bowl. I just think bowling. Also, the other thing, Minnesota starting quarterback Kelly McManus in the transfer portal. So I think the narrative is this is going to be not really a shocker, but Bowling Green just has a lot more to play for. They're going to really want to knock off a Big Ten team. And we did see Minnesota get upset by Bowling Green like 3 years ago. Remember that game? It was like 13-10 or whatever. That was like week 3 of the season. But Minnesota possibly losing again, this time in a completely meaningless game. They would fall to 5-8 on the year if they lost. Although they are favorites, we will see. It just seems like Bowling Green's going to be way more motivated. Even though PJ Fleck is a good coach, he's going to try and motivate his team. It's just tough losing your starting QB to the transfer portal, understanding you probably shouldn't even be in a bowl game anyways because you don't even have 6 wins. You have a losing record. I'll take Bowling Green to get a nice win there. Next, we do have the First Responder Bowl at 5:30. It is Texas State sitting -4.5. Rice given a 61% chance. Obviously, this line has been affected with JT Daniels. He was their starting quarterback. Rice's starting quarterback, that is, the former 5-star that transferred 100 times. Unfortunately, he had to medically retire, and apparently he's going to be a head coach now. But how about Texas State with TJ Finley? Yes, TJ Finley, the 2-time transfer, originally at LSU, played at Auburn for a few years. Now he's at Texas State. 24 passing touchdowns for him, and this should be a very high-scoring game. If JT Daniels would have played, the over-under might have been 67-68. Right now, the over-under sitting at 60.5, and I like the over even with the unknown surrounding Rice and their backup quarterback. Texas State, their defense is just horrible. They allowed 44 points their last game. Before that, against Arkansas State, they allowed 77. So even against a Rice team that is dealing with some quarterback problems, I think we're getting a higher scoring game. I do like Texas State to win it because Rice is starting a backup QB. Next, we've got the 9 o'clock game. Oh, this is the game at Chase Field. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl, UNLV. What a season for them. They're sitting at 9-4. They're taking on a Kansas team, 8-4. The weird situation with Kansas. Daniels, the QB. I don't know if he redshirted, the back injury. Probably going to be transferring, kind of a weird thing there. Kansas sitting -11, 72% chance, and very strange spread to me. I mean, when you look at like a 72% chance to win, you would think it'd be about a 7-point spread, and that's kind of what I expected. When I saw it was 11, I was like, that seems crazy high. I like this UNLV team a lot. They're really undervaluing them. Yeah, this spread's going to get bet down. There's no chance. UNLV is going to keep this game close. I have Kansas winning by 3. Kansas with Jason Bean, he's a solid quarterback. He is their backup, although it seems like he's started 8 or 9 games already this year. I think they get the win, but I like UNLV. They lost lost to Boise State, but I don't think it's necessarily that horrible of a loss. Boise State's playing really good football, and I expect Boise State to end their season with a win in their bowl game. Next, we do have, this is a 2 o'clock game, the Military Bowl. It is Virginia Tech. I'm a huge fan of Virginia Tech and their quarterback, their dual threat quarterback Drones. They will be taking on Tulane. So this is another one. I almost wonder, is Michael Pratt not playing in this game? You look at the line, -7.5, and then, the analytical says 55% chance for Virginia Tech. That would mimic like a 2-point spread. The fact that it's 7.5, I understand Tulane lost their head coach, but I don't think that's going to affect the spread that much. Maybe it does, I don't know. But Virginia Tech, they're a team I think is on the up and up. They've kind of been irrelevant the last decade in college football, maybe even longer. But as long as they can keep their quarterback next year, he is a sophomore right now. You want to cross your fingers and hope he doesn't get poached in the portal. But this is a good Virginia Tech team taking on a Tulane team that really, unfortunately, they could have been in a New Year's Six game. They really could have, but they lost to SMU, and a lot of people kind of down on Tulane, the situation surrounding that loss. SMU had their backup quarterback starting, and Tulane still lost. 7.5 seems slightly high. Normally, I never do this where I play both sides. Like, you're talking about a 7.5 point spread, and I predict, a 7-point win. So it's kind of, it is what it is. I don't know. This just tells you I don't have a great read on this game, and I need more information. But I do like Virginia Tech right now to win that game because I like their quarterback a lot. Next, we do have the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Here's another mainstream bowl. It is North Carolina taking on West Virginia. This one seems carbon cut to me. I think there's just, West Virginia is going to be so much more motivated to play in this game. North Carolina, they start off the season like 5 or 6-0. They're getting hyped for a New Year's Six. Drake May possibly in the Heisman discussion, and then their season completely falls off the table, as opposed to West Virginia. Everyone is shocked they're here at 8-4. No one thought, a lot of people thought they would go 4-8, maybe 3-9 and miss a bowl outright. You can see West Virginia, 61% chance to win. This is a team that's really had an underrated season. They beat Baylor recently. They beat Cincinnati. They got crushed by Oklahoma, but they also crushed BYU and beat UCF, as opposed to North Carolina losing to NC State, although NC State's decent, losing to Clemson as well, barely beating Duke in double overtime. I do like West Virginia. Of course, the other thing you have to think about, Drake May very likely not playing in this game. If he plays, I would certainly change this prediction at least a little bit, but you're predicting a backup quarterback. It's going to be very hard for North Carolina to generate much on offense against a West Virginia team who's going to be very motivated to finish off the season strong. Next, we do have Louisville taking on USC. So Louisville sitting -7.5. It has already been announced Caleb Williams is not playing. This is the Holiday Bowl, by the way, and it's also funny. Normally, the Holiday Bowl is on at 10:30 at night. They changed it, and they've got it at Petco Park, the MLB stadium now. Louisville, to me, Louisville just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. I know you can say, everyone's trying to hype up FSU's defense. I just think Louisville's not very good. They score 6 points against FSU. They lost to Kentucky. They're on a 2-game losing streak right now. They are 10-3. USC, on the other hand, is 7-5. The issue is the horrible defense. Obviously, Caleb Williams not going to be there. USC with a 54% chance to win, but the analytics are not taking into account possibly Malachi Nelson starting. I do think this will be a closer than expected game because I just don't buy Louisville. And USC is going to want to play galvanized, but I do think Louisville ends up winning this game 27-24. There was certainly talent on that USC side, even without Caleb Williams, with Malachi Nelson, the former 5-star quarterback. He's going to be probably getting a big-time start. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this set of college football bowl game predictions. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.